Hello my friends, welcome to the electric Viking. Nissan are, well, kind of screwed, kind of severely screwed. Why? Well, let's start with number one. Nissan are not serious about EVs. They say they are, and well, they were on the right track, weren't they, when they started off with the Nissan Leaf? Although it wasn't a great car, wasn't a great EV, batteries didn't last very long, sometimes really not long, and they still don't have any proper thermal management in the Nissan Leaf. Yet, it was the first company in the world to sell 500,000 electric vehicles. Insanely impressive feat. Now, Carlos Ghosn, its former CEO, is lambasted in Japan and, well, globally for being a disgrace at Nissan, for driving the company into the ground, for doing all these terrible things. However, he was there when they had enormous success with the Leaf. In spite of its failings, it still was a very successful vehicle. Now, since then, Nissan hasn't done a lot in the EV space. They haven't really improved the Leaf very much, and they haven't really planned for the future, unfortunately. Now, one of the big things hanging over Nissan is the fact that their debt, over $80 billion worth of it, is rated only one level above junk. So right now, Nissan Motor Company is struggling to revive a fortune that was weakened by scandal and worsened by the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, from the year March 2020 to 2021, Nissan made a $4.5 billion loss, and they only invested half as much money as Toyota did in R&D over the previous year. So they made a significant loss and invested less money than their main competitor in Japan. Now, both Moody's Investors Service and S&P Global rate Nissan's debt at Baa3, which is one level above junk, and BBB minus, respectively. Like I said, one step above non-investment grade. And both agencies have negative outlooks on Nissan's debt. So why should we believe in what is going on at Nissan? Why should we believe that Nissan will even exist in 2030? Well, Nissan is aiming to reach carbon neutrality by 2050, whatever that means. I don't know exactly. Companies are throwing that around a lot these days. But they're also saying that, well, they will make 100% of all new vehicle offerings electrified in the key markets of Japan, China, the US, and Europe by the early 2030s. Whatever that means. No year is given, no specific date. If you don't plan, I think maybe if you don't plan, then you plan to fail. However, at the beginning of July this year, Nissan announced plans to build a new EV dedicated production facility in the UK, featuring a 9 gigawatt hour capacity, battery manufacturing capacity, at a cost of around US 1.8 billion. Good signs, right? But let's be honest, 9 gigawatt hours of battery capacity is not a lot in comparison to, say, Tesla's plans on having 400 gigawatt hours of production capacity by 2025. Whether or not Tesla can deliver on that doesn't really matter. Even if they deliver on 200 gigawatt hours of capacity, that's still 20 times more. Now, obviously, Nissan do have the Aria. I don't know even how you pronounce that. Ariya, the Nissan Aria, something like that, which is a pretty cool looking car. I like it. I think it's going to sell well. But the big problem we have here is this. While Nissan's saying they're going to have every single model with an electrified option in the early 2030s, they're not saying they're going full electric by the early 2030s. They're being very vague about whether or not all of their model range, all cars sold, all cars that they can provide will actually be electrified. The reason for that is they don't have a plan on exactly what they're going to do. Now, Nissan has targeted that only 40% of US sales will be all electric by 2030. They said this right after the White House's official announcement of the electrification target for the US, which was 50% of all sales to be electrified. Nissan came out and said, all right, well, we'll do 40. Now, the government set a target, a 50% share of BEVs, FEVs, and fuel cell vehicles, which is ridiculous. But anyway, of 50% by 2030 in new car sales. So Nissan should actually comply easily with this because they're saying that 40% of their vehicles will be fully electric, which is great. But let's be honest, looking at battery energy density improvements over the past 10 years, well, you probably don't know this, but battery energy density has doubled for most battery manufacturers. If we see another doubling of battery energy density over the next 10 years, and we continue to see big declines in the cost of batteries, that'll mean that the average vehicle will easily have a range of 600 kilometers plus up to 1,000 kilometers by 2030. Why on earth you would want to be dragging around a petrol engine in that vehicle just beggars belief to me. Why would you seriously want to do that? Drag around 10,000 components that go into an engine that fail, Obviously, how long does a petrol engine last for? Seriously, how long does it last for? On average, 270,000 kilometers. New battery electric vehicles are becoming more and more reliable and will only be more sorted by 2030 to the point where they'll easily do 1,000,000 kilometers. Why would you drag along this ancient dinosaur technology in your vehicle, making it heavier, less efficient, and making you reliant and dependent upon fossil fuels when you don't have to? When you just don't have to, when it's in every way a disadvantage and is only going to cost more money. It will undoubtedly be cheaper to buy an EV, a full EV, by 2025 than a ICE petrol vehicle. So why on earth would you want by 2030 to buy a hybrid or a plug-in vehicle which still has a petrol engine in it? Now Nissan is saying 60% of the vehicles that they are selling in the United States in 2030 will be lugging around some form of petrol or diesel engine in them. And that, my friends, is just stupidity. This is Kodak level stupidity. This is Nokia level stupidity. It doesn't make sense. Nissan is planning to fail. Enormous debt and a poor plan for the future means the chances of bankruptcy at Nissan are extremely high. And I really hope they're watching this video, because Nissan, get your shit together. What are you thinking? Honestly, I don't understand it. You know why I'm disappointed, why I'm angry at Nissan? Because there are investors out there that haven't done their research, and I don't blame them. I understand it. They're probably not watching this channel. They're probably not listening to the right people. They probably really think that Nissan knows what they're doing when they don't. They don't. Unfortunately, they don't. To some degree, they were on the right path. In 2010, 2011, 2012, with their sales of the Nissan Leaf, they started to head on the right path. And yet they lost sight of what the goal was. They lost sight and belief in what the future is and what the future would be. Now, unfortunately, this year, the Nissan Leaf has accounted for only 4.8% of Nissan's passenger car sales. If Nissan had have actually improved the vehicle, continued to make improvements to the car, as Tesla have been trying to do, as BYD have been trying to do, continue to improve the battery technology, improve every aspect of the car, then what would have happened? Well, people would have continued to buy it. Sales wouldn't be 4.8%, they'd be 20 to 25% of the company. People want EVs. They want EVs they can afford. The Nissan Leaf is still expensive and the technology is inferior to all of its competitors. And that is what has happened. Therefore, Nissan doesn't fully believe in electrification vehicles because they haven't really had success over the last 3 to 5 years with the Nissan Leaf. Now, what about the Nissan Aria or however you pronounce that? Well, it's coming in 2022, but it has been delayed for most markets because of, well, semiconductor supply constraints, but battery supply issues for Nissan. They haven't really planned for this vehicle well enough. They haven't planned to have enough battery supply for this vehicle, so it's delayed process of getting this vehicle out to customers. Now, to me, it is extremely disappointing that Nissan, who were one of the great early pioneers of EVs, became very late to the EV party on a volume level. I personally have a very hard time believing that 60% of people will want to buy an ICE vehicle in 2030 when an electric vehicle will be even cheaper by 2025 and probably much cheaper by 2030. Let me know in the comment section what you think. Do you think Nissan will be able to repay their $85 billion of US debt, change the company completely from being primarily an ICE-powered vehicle company, and somehow make it through to 2030, even though they don't have a solid plan for doing so? If you think they will, tell me how they're going to do it, because I'm intrigued. I really want to know. Thanks for watching the video. I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.